Hello, welcome back to another Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video. It's been a while since we last did one of these, and probably not since the beginning of Season 1. Truth is, I haven't played this game since the beginning of Season 1. It's really felt like recently there's been such a lack of communication from Rocksteady, or meaningful changes. Now, the reason that changes today, I haven't really covered any of these developer updates in a video, well, period, but today's was a very big one that I think actually warrants me talking about it. So we're going to do this play by play in terms of each of the different sections that Rocksteady are talking about in this developer update, give my thoughts on them, and then whilst there's a lot of positive stuff here, talk about why all this stuff is great, but it might not amount to much if they don't change this one thing that is really going to define where this end game goes. So let's get straight into it, shall we? So we've got the Infamy tier rework. So what they're essentially saying here is that one, the way that Infamy items are doshed out, should we say, that is now changing. So they're saying here that all Infamy tier and Notorious items will be available acquiring from Mastery level 1. So you can still rely on the episode rank rewards, which I actually think is quite a nice feature. But you no longer have to wait till Mastery level 12, I think it is, for tier 2. And then for tier 23, is it? For tier 3. So I think this is a good change. I never really I understood the idea in terms of, okay, we want people to keep going up the mastery levels, and therefore as they go up the mastery levels, things are going to get harder, and they kind of have to understand the gameplay flow to then, move forward in these mastery levels. But with this is a better change, just straight from the off, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They're also talking here in terms of what it was tier 1 was meant to be the easiest to play but the lowest power potential, and tier 3 is meant to be the hardest to play but the highest damage potential. And again, I understand that 100%. They're changing this now to a new philosophy. So starting with episode 2, which arrives next month, each tier 1 Infamy set will be designed around a few specific playstyles. You'll see 1 or 2 mechanics that are buffed, and they're saying that keeping up time on those buffs won't be a challenge. Meaning tier 1 is all about mastering these specific core mechanics, whereas tier 3 on the other hand is about being more flexible in terms of the core mechanics, that you can do any play style, but it's going to be the hardest to have uptime on keeping those perks and buffs going. Again, tier 2 will then sit somewhere in the middle. I think this is quite a nice change. I understand what they were saying in terms of tier 3 being a glass cannon, big damage output, but then everything coming in means you're going to go down pretty quickly. And when you pair that with some of the mutators that were going about recently, it did mean that it was tough to really get those uptime of those buffs going. I think the good changes here. It's hard to say how much of an impact this is going to have without getting these items in our hand and seeing what that actually looks like in terms of gameplay. But I think on the whole, for the average player of this game, these are positive changes. We also have changes to master items. So now that they're flattening the Infamy set tiers, they still want us to chase something, which is kind of the worry I had. If you're getting everything from the beginning, what is the incentive to keep chasing those higher mastery levels? So what they're doing is master is no longer just master. There's 5 master levels, so master 1 all the way up to master 5. Each master level is going to grant you an item more powerful than the last. I expect this just to be higher damage output, as master has always been. So usually you have your base item and your master item. Your master item would usually clock in about double the damage. So this is a little bit different from that. The next part is corrupted items. This is one of the best changes for me. One of the biggest problems I've had is I don't particularly love the boss fights against Brainiac in this game. I think they're very bullet spongy. I don't think they're very fun, even though I do maintain that the Green Lantern boss fight is the best boss fight in the game. I still didn't love the Brainiac one, so I never really reran that fight. In fact, I didn't, and I've got the Joker and I haven't ran that boss fight ever since. One thing that the community have been talking about is that there isn't an incentive to run it again, but what they're doing here with corrupted items changes that. So they're saying that we have a new reward for it. So with the Elseworlds corruption, they're going to change a unique augment to provide a warped and powerful version of the weapon. So corrupted notorious weapons will be very rare drops, which again, nice, something to chase. And they give us a bit of an example. So Firefly's Firestorm. So the standard version of this red hot grenade sets all the enemies on fire and increases the radius of your next grenade by 50% for each enemy you burn, up to a maximum of 200%. The corrupted version turns up the heat even more. It burns every enemy hit, but instead of increasing the blast radius, increases the damage of your next grenade is buffed by 200% for each enemy you burn, up to a maximum of 1000%. I mean, if you played this game, you will know how busted grenades are if you get a good build going. And especially with some of Joker's perks, if I remember, in the talent tree, because he's a fire starter. I think that's going to be a pretty nuts build to go for. So I'm definitely going to be trying that out in episode 2. They say that you can expect more of these items too in future episodes. Again, it sounds like it's going to be all notorious items. They've not like specifically said, but they say notorious items with each episode. So yeah, I'd expect every notorious item per episode to come with a corrupted version. And again, that's a really good way of making sure that these boss fights are replayable. The next one, this is the quality of life feature that I have been begging for since the start of this game, which is breaking down items from mission complete. It's as simple as it sounds. As soon as the mission ends, we will now get the ability to just dismantle any items that we do not want. So yeah, that's coming with the launch of episode 2. It's really handy because at one point I was spending more time dismantling items to keep my inventory from clogging up than actually playing the game. So again, another massive, big win from Rocksteady on this one. An even bigger win. This is the one that a lot of people who are still playing this game will want. Mutators. They were basically saying that their thinking behind Mutators was to make you experiment more with your build. However, things like Venom Frenzy was meant to push you into experimenting more, but all it did was actually confine your builds to very much one way, which is burn. And now coming in episode 2, Mutators aren't about building friction, the bonuses. So instead of having things to go in against you, they're actually windows of opportunity, which they say to take advantage of. So they have, I believe, 6 Mutators coming in episode 2, which are now going to be bonuses to your gameplay rather than debuffs or things that would just wipe you out in one hit. Not mention any names, boom. Yeah, I think these are really good. So some of the ones that they talk about, Desperation and Extra Fries. Desperation, Extra Fries, I love that. Desperation boosts your damage by 75% for every 10% of your shield missing. High risk, high reward. I really like that. Extra Fires grants one player's one combo for every critical hit on a burning enemy, allowing fire builds to get off to a blazing start. Again, these are really good changes because this is opening up the build crafting to another level. They say that what they're looking for us to do here is to focus on 2 or 3 that we really like rather than trying to hit all 6 Mutators. Positive changes that, again, it did feel like in episode 1, all you could go for was those fear builds. I'm hoping that with episode 2, now everything's on the table. And that, again, we can't really talk about this until we're in there and playing it for ourselves. But again, good changes here from Rocksteady. So we're also getting some new incursion mission mechanics. So they're saying that Lex 2 has done an analysis of the enemies in each of the incursion encounters and will provide an aptly named enemy analysis bonus to help the squad out. So that could be something as simple as the funny pages. Lex 2 has discovered that burn enemies will take double damage from all sources, which, again, they mention the Joker, all about those fire builds. And in Seaside Amusements, it seems that squad's critical hits will deal 150% more damage if they build accordingly. Again, all about helping diversify builds, and it's cool that this is going to vary between the different incursion missions. So again, you might have one build that works really well on that brute-based incursion, and you might have another one which works really well on the infused-based one. Really like that. They also talk a little bit about crafting, though I haven't crafted anything yet. I don't know if it's like a viable thing, but what they're saying is that crafting recipes from previous episodes, so you'll be able to craft the legendary items from Infinite Crisis in episode 1, which is cool. Also craft master items in episode 2. So you'll only be able to craft Master 1, if you remember what I spoke about before, we're going up to Master 5. Master 2 to 5, you'll still have to go into the Elseworlds to get those. Again, nice changes, and for anyone who's really struggling at the start with these incursions, they can go and craft themselves a Master Weapon, and that will help them get through it a lot easier. Also got lower Prometheum Cost, which is, again, I'm still not sure what the... I'm sure there's something in here which means that Prometheum is worthwhile them doing to maybe enhance our playtime, but I'm just confused as to what purpose this really serves. Like, I don't know of any other looter shooter where you have to farm a currency to then be able to do a mission. If I'm wrong, someone else like correct me in the comments, but I don't think I am in regards to this. And then additional invasion levels. With episode 2, we'll be adding 3 invasion difficulty levels for Metropolis, so that's when you're just out and about in the open world, which will also give us more rewards, XP, and resource bonuses. So again, more stuff to test your build out up, because when you get up those higher mastery levels, again, you start burning all the enemies in Metropolis, and even things like raising hell become very, very easy. But that's everything. All of these are really good changes. Like, I'm very, very happy with a lot of the things that are coming in here. It's all player friendly, all helps the player out. There's nothing that's kind of grinding against us or restricting us. I do have one issue though, is that, like I say, all this stuff is good, but the content behind it is not meaningful enough. The problem that Incursion missions, I think Elseworlds was a really cool idea. I do. Going to like the Joker's Elseworld, we know that we're going to be going back to like Arkham Knight, Gotham, we're going to go back to Arkham Asylum. I love all that, but I can't shake the feeling, no matter what I've been doing in any of the Incursion missions, I always feel like I'm doing the same thing. I play a lot of Destiny 2. I'm very, very aware that in Destiny 2, all I'm doing is running the same things over and over. The trick in Destiny 2 is that it makes you feel like you're doing something different, even if you're not. Listen, you can't compare a 2-month-old game to something that's been running for 7 years, but there has to be more variation in the game modes that Suicide Squad is offering, because otherwise I'm going to jump into episode 2, I'm going to play some of these Elseworld missions, and then I'm going to be done, because I don't really find the grind of going up the mastery levels worthwhile. Like, it's really cool you're going to be able to go up to master level 5 with all of this, but I don't know, man. I don't find much appeal in climbing up leaderboards and just being like, hey, I got to master level da-da-da-da. I'm really excited to chase some of these corrupted items. I'm looking forward to testing out the new mutators, but yeah, it's tough for me to get really excited about these changes when ultimately I'm still going to be doing the same things that I was doing in episode 1, Infinite Crisis, and I will likely do in season 2. I'd love to know more, and like this is the kind of developer update that I love. I know you can't get something like this every single week, but what I want is something to work towards. When the end game revolves entirely around mastery levels, it's just not a great incentive for me to play towards. I like experimenting with builds, but not to the point where, what am I experimenting for? Why am I trying to find the ultimate build other than, well, you went up mastery level 50 to 55. That's not really an incentive for me. And again, you could say, cool, you got a master level 5. Well, great, but what do I need that master level 5 for? You know, other than, again, going up another master level. This game really needs some kind of dungeons or raids or other end game activities that aren't incursion missions. And I know they spoke a little bit about on Twitter, like maybe raids are coming down the line. Who knows? But for the time being, I do need a little bit more. Those are my thoughts though on this developer update. Again, a bit of a different video for me, just talking off the cuff. So, what are your thoughts on all of this? Is this enough to make you excited for episode 2? Are you going to be playing episode 2? Or are you kind of done for now? You're waiting for season 2, seeing what the changes are like? I'd love to have a conversation with you in the comments down below. If you enjoy this video, then dropping a like really helps me out. Again, bit of a different type of video. Just going to see if it works or not. If you're looking to stay up to date on Suicide Squad, we've got the episode 2 launching next month. Like I say, I'll be all over it in that initial launch week. Definitely hit that subscribe button because I've got you covered. Other than that, I hope you have a terrific day, and I'll catch you in the next one.